For those of you who know me, I'm sorry. For those who don't, my name is Django, and my real name is Django, so it's the same thing, that's fine. Briege and I have been friends for almost 40 years, and I couldn't refuse when Briege asked me to give a speech at her third and final wedding. As I look around the room, I see many familiar faces that have survived the long and arduous journey to Malaysia. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Sheehan specifically. I believe this is their last child getting married. So well done. Now they have no obligation to leave Tasmania ever again, so that's pretty good. It's been a while since I've seen the McKenna clan. We've got David McKenna here, made famous for his role as Khal Drogo in HBO hit series Game of Thrones. We've got Peter McKenna here, famous for his role as the most handsome McKenna in the hit show Life. And Mary Zachariah is here as well because she's obsessed with me. But we're not here for them. We're here for Briege McKenna and Christopher McKenna's wedding. So that's great. I should make a correction to that. Christopher Sheehan, at the wedding, I heard you say Briege, not Briege, which was interesting. I thought maybe you misspoke, perhaps a nervous blunder, but no, not the Chris that we know. Chris doesn't make mistakes. As our good MC said, he deliberates. So I've made a few phone calls, I've checked the police computer systems, and your real name is actually Briege. You told me my whole life your name was Briege. That's fraud. Chris, as of 11:30 today, you legally became a party to that offence. I have no jurisdiction here, but I will be waiting at Brisbane International Airport with 2 warrants for both of your arrest. That's unacceptable. Chris, it may take you some time to get over her first name, weird first name, and surprisingly long criminal history. I've done more checks. But it's her last name that you should hold tight. Chris, you've married into a good name. Prior to becoming a cop, I was a paramedic, and every time I picked up a patient from Brisbane's Bayside suburbs, Wynnum and Manly, I'd ask them, do you know the McKennas? And every single time, this is no word of a lie, every single time they'd say yes. They'd mention the great late Jimmy McKenna and his generosity to everyone, Patricia McKenna, how beautiful she is, her hilarious antics, and her infectious laughs, and they'd also probably mention all 39 children that they've had as well at some stage as well. But now I'm a cop, and I ask the same question to all the criminals that I arrest. Do you know the McKennas? Usually their reply is, yeah, how's David McKenna going? So check your wallets, Chris, you're going to have a lot of roles and responsibilities now that you're a married man, but one thing that I ask of you, and one thing only, is find out what cultural background Briege is. I've known her my whole life. I still have no idea. I'm pretty sure most of the Sheehans have no idea either. I've checked the computer systems. It just says we don't know. So please figure that out. On to the most important topic, one that should be mentioned at every wedding, children. How exciting. We all want them. I want you guys to have them. First and foremost, we hope to God that your children have Chris's looks. He's very handsome. Well done, Briege. But Chris, with the McKenna bloodline, your children will become athletics. Superhuman, freaks of nature, if you will. Some McKennas play for Queensland in the state of origin. Some play rep footy, don the Cronulla jersey. But be wary. They might be like Briege. Briege will stop mid-run. She knows the story already. Briege will stop mid-run to do a shit. True story. Briege will stop mid-run to do a shit behind a log in the middle of Tui Park on Brisbane's south side. It's a good reaction. Briege, since knowing you for the majority of my life, I've met many men that have tried to win your heart. Each one I developed an immediate disdain for, like general hatred, because I knew that they wouldn't be able to love you the way that you deserved it. And then one day you told me about Chris, and I thought, oh yeah, Your mum would like him. His name's one letter away from Christ, so it would work. And then I met him. And within about 12 minutes, I knew this fella was the one. When I saw the way he looked at you, when we all had dinner together that one night, and the way he treated you and cared for you, I knew that this was it. And today at the wedding, he had that exact same look when you were walking down the aisle. When I saw that look again, it put my heart at ease because I knew your heart would be at ease for the rest of your life. Normally in weddings, this is the part where we wish you good luck for your future and all that kind of stuff. But from what I can tell, you guys probably don't need luck. You've already got it sorted, so you're completely fine there. I love you both. We all love you. Otherwise, we wouldn't have risked our lives on Malaysia Airlines. So, everyone, I figure we should have a drink. I got Guinness, which was a mistake, but that's fine. So, to Briege McKenna and Christopher Sheehan, or Briege Sheehan, it works better. Thank you.
And look, our poem's only going to last for about a minute, so we're probably just going to have to fill in the rest of the other 4 minutes. We'll just wing it. We'll be fine. You got any stories?
Well, family friendly. What about that time? We used to go out drinking ICBMs, and we'd walk home after a couple of light beers, and there was a construction site, and Shane was like, "Hey, let's just go and break into..."
Mate, we got police here.
Oh, yeah.
No, we won't tell that one. Australia Day?
Yes.
Yeah, having a bit of a good time, and Sheehan jumps the neighbour's fence and steals the
Was it? Oh, no, that's not G-rated.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's G-string.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Again, our ICBM's recurring theme, and Shane goes up to the security guard and he decides, maybe he'll give him a bit of a wrestle and
No. It's his wedding day. You don't want to draw attention to his two very weak shoulders. Traveling around the US, going for a bit of a camp, and crossing the border and smuggling all that.
No, mates, this is Malaysia. We cannot talk about that. Some guys got in trouble just for getting in their undies at the Grand Prix.
That is true.
Well, that was that time. We remember we all lived in a big group house on Gellibrand Street, and Canberra winter came around, and it was probably -9 outside, and it's not really a bad story, but I feel like it's our duty of care to warn Briege that if you ever move to a climate that isn't in the subtropical area, Shane will refuse to turn on a heater and you will freeze to death.
But I mean, I do know the guy can wave a towel, but I don't see how that's relevant yet. Look, to be honest, we're absolutely thrilled that our best mate Sheehan has found someone so loving, kind, and thoughtful as Briege. He has found his true partner in crime. Watch out for the AFP; they're everywhere. Matter of fact, we were getting a bit worried about Sheehan because he had been single for quite a while, and so we're at the footy one day watching his beloved Canberra Raiders get towed up by the Cronulla Sharks, and grabbed his phone and it's just like, look, he's feeling a bit down. I just want to get him back in the game, and so tapped away, installed the dating app, and pretty quickly look at him. Sheehan's phone was just blowing up with matches and really top-notch matches. And but unfortunately, at that time, Sheehan scrolling through, it was a great boost to his ego, but he just didn't find the right person on Grindr.
Well, when Sheehan did finally
It actually happened.
No, actually happened. When he finally found the right dating app for him, Tinder, and he was in the backseat of my car in Sydney, and he was uploading his profile, working on it, putting on a few pictures, took a selfie in the back of the car. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked at your driver's license photo. They're never a good photo. That's what this photo looked like. And if you've seen Sheehan's driver's license photo, you know he looks like a little bit of a criminal. Anyway, my wife Jess took it off him and was like, mate, just settle down. Uploaded a few nice photos of him on his mountain bike, looking all buff and sexy. And fortunately, it's grabbed the eye of beautiful Briege, and they've been happy ever since. So we thank you for that.
Mate, we're really Sheehanising this speech. We are way behind schedule.
All right. So look, we've got a nice little bush ballad for you. Our mate John Williamson helped us out with this, gave him a bit of a phone call. Originally, we got in contact with Johnny Horton for a version of Sink the Bismarck, but the beautiful rendition of Sink the Briege Mark didn't go down too well. So we've got something else for you.
So we decided to go with True Blue because of Sheehan's multiple run-ins with the boys in blue. And he's an avid New South Wales Blue supporter. But he is the epitome of a True Blue bloke.
All right. Hey, True Blue. Don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off to find hard rubbish and you'll be back later on.
Hey, True Blue, is it me and you? Is it ICBM again? And Mooseheads and South Pack 2? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a circle with your pants around your ankles? Hey, True Blue, I'm asking you.
Hey, True Blue. Why do you walk so slow? Will you hurry up tonight to keep this show on the road?
Hey, True Blue, now be fair dinkum. Is your heart still there? Are you selling out like an expat teacher? Do you really care?
Hey, True Blue. Is it Briege and you? Will you be a mum and dad soon, or is that a bit taboo? Is it standing by your wife when she picks a fight, or just tonight? True Blue,
We're asking you to raise your glasses
to the bride and groom.
Cheers.
Just two of them. Thanks, gents. That was cute. Do you really support the Blues? Do her brothers know that? Don't be scared.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, so I'm Dan. I'm Chris's older brother, superior perhaps. I don't know. Thank you to the bridesmaids, I must say, especially Mary, who has stopped me from getting lost in the church and taught me some dance moves on the way in. So thanks for that. When my brother asked me to be my best man, my initial reaction was, "Oh, that's great. I'm honoured." And then it's like, what did he mean about saying a few words? What's the go? So inevitably, I started thinking about what I could say, and in typical Sheehan fashion, I got to about 10 o'clock last night and started jotting down a few thoughts. I thought maybe it could be the best man speech, the typical one, you know, the crazy escapades, the bachelor life, but I figured Howie and Will Pye probably had that covered, and when I saw their name before me on the list, I thought somebody better say something nice about you at some point. So this will be a bit more about the Chris Sheehan that I grew up with, and believe it or not, beneath that larrikin exterior is a surprisingly thoughtful and often serious man. As a kid, he always used to love climbing trees, he loved his sport, but he also loved his jigsaw puzzles, and he loved his peach-coloured nightie, satin, I believe. Remember, we used to do everything together as kids. I'd like to think it was because we were great mates. It may have been because we lived 10k out of town. I don't know. So yeah, plenty of times playing footy in the rain in the winter and cricket until the sun went down in the summer. Breaking up fights with your sister. Yeah, who probably wished that we were a bit less of a team than we were. As we grew older, that morphed into Tekken 3 battles, and inviting all your friends over so I could give them chicken pox at your birthday. Some of those friends are here today. Yep, hey. That's one thing that I've always really admired about Chris, is his ability to make long-lasting and meaningful friendships. And there's a lot of guys from Wagga High here and from B&G College. And as he's always been a good brother to me, and that's been more clear as we've been adults. He's always been there for me. I had some tough times a few years back, and he always used to chat to me on the phone regularly, which if any of you have ever tried to get in touch with Chris Sheehan is a big deal. So yeah, one year he invited me over to Adelaide, caught up with him and his mate GC, who's here as well. And spur of the moment, we decided to come on an Asia trip, and I think that was part of a real turning point for me. And 12 months later, I was travelling by myself, and I'd met my future wife, who's, I think, over there. Hi, Gail. The travels opened my eyes to the possibilities of what was out there and the dangers of karaoke. So thank you for that. I think his childhood love of puzzles kind of transitioned into him becoming an engineer, but maybe that piece didn't fit for him, and so he followed in his father's footsteps to become a teacher, trading in the excitement of cutting-edge photovoltaics for the socks and sandals of a math teacher. I was pretty sceptical. I thought, after watching Dad go through teaching for so many years, what are you doing? But it seems to have been a great choice for you, and you seem happier with it. So that was one piece, and there was still something missing. And just like with one of his jigsaw puzzles, he maybe was looking a bit too hard, looking in the wrong places, and suddenly when he stopped looking so hard, he found that missing piece, what he was looking for, when he didn't know he was looking for it. In true Chris Sheehan fashion, I didn't know about Briege for a couple of months, but it was pretty clear from the start that she was kind of a big deal. There was a few signs. There was the keenness for her to meet the family. There was the obsession with making sure that we all knew how to pronounce and spell her name. Had to have that right. But the biggest giveaway was when we actually saw him with her, and he was calmer and happier and more content than I remember seeing him in a very long time. Still, despite how happy they were, it was still a little bit of a surprise when he announced he was picking up stumps and travelling to Malaysia for a few years to teach. I think by that point, when he eventually proposed, none of us were particularly surprised, but we were very happy for him. And we were especially happy because of who he'd chosen. I haven't gotten to spend as much time as I'd like with Briege yet, but she's an excellent match for Chris. She's warm, welcoming, self-assured, and with a free and adventurous spirit. She's young. Chris is young at heart. And I think most importantly, after growing up with so many siblings, Chris is not going to be able to get away with anything, which is, I think, very important for him. He needs to be kept in line. So Briege, it's a great pleasure to have you in the family, and I believe you'll be a constant challenge for Chris and a source of inspiration for him for many, many years to come. So to Chris and Briege.
Don't know me, I'm Mary, Briege's older sister by 2 years. Thank you, Briege, for having me as your matron of honour. It's a privilege. Firstly, can I start by mentioning how absolutely stunning Briege looks today? Chris and the groomsmen have scrubbed up pretty well too. You can clap for that too. I think you'll all agree with me in saying what a gorgeous ceremony and perfect reception location. Well, what can I say about Briege? Also known as Brie, Boogs, Briege Boo, Briejo, Babushka, Babunski, Bing, Bing Bong, and Bruce Lee. The resemblance is uncanny. Just to name a few. In the years growing up together, Briege was always the extremely loved child who could do no wrong, whereas I was named Mary Maggot for reasons unknown to me. But I can't really begrudge her for that because really, she has always been genuinely good. She is just an innately nice person. Being so close in age, Briege and I grew up doing pretty much everything together, from school, Irish dancing, piano and tennis lessons, to working our first jobs together at the good old IGA Manly and Celtic Corner, where she met some of her lovely guests tonight. And in more recent years, playing touch football with the good old Starsky and Touch. We've got a few of the players here. Briege has always been a bit of a fashionista with great style, is quirky and somewhat ditzy at times. From a very young age, especially around 5 or 6 years old, she would change her outfit around 3 or so times per day. I guess she hasn't changed too much since, as the gorgeous lace number she's wearing tonight, she's wearing is actually not the first dress she bought for the wedding. It's also not the second, but in fact, this is the third dress she bought, which she had tailor-made just under 2 weeks ago. I guess some things never change. How's that for some last-minute stress? Now, for the quirky side of Briege. When Briege was in primary school, maybe grade 5, she went through a phase of making a little face out of blue tack with little facial features. Each day, without fail, she would change the expression and put it in a different spot around the house. Just randomly, you'd be going to the cupboard and see this little weird face. Some days stuck to the walls, the fridge, and so on and so forth. She even named it Morphe. Why did she do this? We have no idea. Weird, hey? So on to her ditzy side. Briege used to come home from primary school with some very interesting facts that we still haven't let her live down to this day. She was adamant that toothpaste was made out of bird poo, and the outer coating of M&Ms was made of sand from the beach. Let's hope she doesn't pass on these fun facts to her students, as there'll be many misinformed little Malaysians running around. Briege and I have had a somewhat turbulent relationship at times, especially when alcohol's involved. We have some emotional blood running through our veins, not sure who we get that from. Mum. I once told her, I don't even like you as a sister. Because I was so offended that she offered me water during a night out. I'll tell this story because it's quite out of character for Briege, because it's usually me behaving badly. At my hens night last year, Briege had consumed a few beverages and we were lined up to enter into a club. Briege was not allowed in, as the bouncer decided she had indulged in a few too many. So we proceeded to the next club. Once again, the bouncers decided it was time for Briege to go home. To say Briege was outraged is an understatement. Briege proceeded to stand chest to chest with these two big men and say, "You're racist!" She was 100% serious and repeated it a few times. They looked at her with completely baffled expressions and asked, "What even are you?" Then she stormed off and walked past two Indigenous Australians and felt the need to warn them of the racism she just encountered. Wow. Okay, so now the embarrassing stuff's out of the way, I'll move on to the nice stuff. Briege has always been a humble person and a quiet achiever. After finishing high school, Briege successfully graduated from university with a Bachelor of Education degree and fulfilled her hopes of becoming a primary school teacher, which was no surprise to us, as she has always been fantastic with kids. Fast forward to 2016, I believe. We all reach a point in our lives where we're at a crossroads, where a single decision or an act can change our lives in a way we can never imagine. For Briege McKenna, this came in the form of a simple slip of the finger to swipe right on a Christopher Sheehan. I have no idea why Briege decided to go on Tinder. I mean, look at her. Anyway, lucky she did, as this app led her to Chris. Being the protective older sister that I am, I was pretty wary of this guy Briege had met and was constantly talking about. She would be talking to me saying how good his banter is. She wasn't lying, etc., etc. With everything she was telling me, he just seemed a little bit too good to be true. Changing from a lucrative engineering profession to high school science teacher for sheer job satisfaction, a non-smoker and practically a non-drinker, funny in Briege's quirky way. It took me a little while to get to know him. I was just waiting for the catch, but it never came. Slowly but surely, Chris proved to be a pretty good bloke who enjoys four-wheel driving, footy, and can cook a mean roast. Don't let these macho attributes deceive you. Chris is a deeply sensitive new age guy, great with kids, talks about his feelings, and a man who enjoys yoga, boasting an impeccable downward dog. I'm sure he'll do that later. As a couple, I think it's quite clear to see how well suited you are for one another. As a wise man, Mr. Jonathan Dodd once said, be with someone who makes you a better version of yourself. I think Briege has found that person. Together, you live a very active and spontaneous life full of travel, hiking, camping, and general adventuring. You've bravely taken the chance to apply for jobs in a strange new country that neither one of you had visited before coming, and have successfully assimilated into Malaysian life. I can see you will come out of this even stronger as a couple. Briege, it's devastating that Dad can't be here to see how amazing you look and how happy you are. Briege and Dad were very close, very, very close. He had a very dear place in his heart for his Briege boo, his baby girl. He would have loved to have been here and give you away. Chris, he would have loved you and you would have had many good chats. I have no doubt he is watching down on both of you from his high place in heaven. Briege, I don't say this often, but I love you and I'm very proud of the person you are and to be your sister. I'm so happy you have found Chris to share the rest of your life with. I almost got there. Now, if you can raise your glasses. I'm sober. International Breastfeeding Week. To share in a toast to the stunning couple, to a long and happy marriage full of adventures and cute little babies. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Sheehan. Yeah, I almost did. It's a little surprise, something that David put together. So, David.
She's come a long way since then. And Mary did touch on it, that Briege has become certainly one of the favourite siblings. She does have a very kind heart. Briege, you know, she did come through those troubling times, but she still displayed some disturbing trends, most of which relate to her dating, whereby she seems to date people who look very much like family members. And some of her man crushes also are quite interesting. So I think you'll all agree, most of you knew Lee looked very much like our father. You guys know Chris. Looks very much like Whoopi over there. Dead ringer. I personally was left feeling quite awkward at the altar with the passionate kiss. I was thinking, just doesn't look right. It's Whoopi. And I guess, you know, most in their early teens and stuff have a bit of a, you know, boy band crush. You know, when Briege was growing up, it was probably, I don't know, Backstreet Boys were probably in vogue then. But instead of someone like a Nick Carter, Briege actually was quite besotted by a Pakistani fast bowler by the name of Shal Bakhtar. And Briege was very physically attracted to him, I think she said, up until the age of about 15. One of my favourite Briege quotes, Briege was living with me fairly recently, and she said, "I only like to date people who are far worse looking than me." And I was thinking, you were going to be searching for a very, very long time for love, my dear. She definitely said that. So, there was a few guys before Chris. Look, not in that way. Just a few dates. People date. My personal favourite was a guy called Matt Cosgrave. Look, this could be a little bit controversial, being a wedding and all, but, you know, it's all good. Look, Cosy was personally my choice. Cosy was handsome, magnificent calf muscles, and he was an electrician, so he could fill all my electrician needs. But, like I said, he was too handsome. And then one night when I was going to my car, Chris and Briege were out the front. I hadn't met Chris at this point in time. They're having a nice little romantic, I think it was Cantong they were eating, or something like that, a pasta bake or something. And I captured Briege and Chris sitting on the front balcony. And it was one of those awkward moments where I didn't know whether I should go and interrupt and say hello, because, you know, they knew that I saw them, and it was very awkward. So I went and said hello, and I thought, he's got a really nice greet about him. So I'm big on greetings. So I went back upstairs and told Georgia that, oh yeah, Briege looks like she's on a date. And she's like, what's he like? I'm like, he's pretty old, but he's a really nice greeter. He's got a very nice greeting, he's got a very nice nature about him. You know, could be something. He's not cosy, but, you know, it's all right. So time went on, and Chris and Briege was still together, and I noticed a few boxes appearing, and I thought, oh, okay, this is interesting. Doesn't look like Briege's stuff. Certainly not my stuff. And then Briege said, oh, do you mind if Chris moves in? Mum, yes, they were living out of wedlock. I told them not to, but who am I to stop love? So Chris moved in. And this is where the nice stuff starts. Chris was extremely warm, and you could clearly see that he loved Briege. It was great having them downstairs, and our girls loved them, and Chris certainly showed his softer side. The softer side to Briege was never unknown to me. She's always been caring and loving and all those fantastic qualities, and Chris clearly saw that, and they kind of matched each other despite the startling age gap, you know, it was love. So I do know that Dad would have had a lot of time for you. You being slightly nerdy, you and Dad would have talked for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I think he would have out-talked you, that's for sure. So I guess on behalf of our family, welcome. You're a gentleman, and welcome. That is all I have.
Hello. The trouble with coming at this end of the night is most of the stuff's been said, so we'll probably stumble through a few edits here along the way rather than repeat. Thank you for asking us to speak. Thank you all very, very much for coming. Everybody in this room has 100,000 brownie points with that pair, okay? Anybody with children, you have 200,000 brownie points. We were out to tea the other night, and I asked Chris and Briege whether there are any restrictions on, you know, and Briege just said 5 minutes, so obviously nobody else has taken any notice of that, so we probably won't. But nobody mentioned dad jokes. My daughter forbade me to make dad jokes, so we'll begin the night with a dad joke. I'm sure Jim would have improved and approved. Why do elephants paint their toenails green? So they can hide in coconut trees. And it works, because have you seen any up there? No, it's pretty good.
Don't worry, Briege. When I met John, he wasn't a dad and he didn't tell dad jokes. But, warning, if you have children, he may morph into dad joke person, so be careful.
So a few stories about Chris from when he was little. Chris is an adventurous soul, most of you know that. He's also very resourceful. At about the age of 8 months, before he could walk, dressed in his nappy and green t-shirt from memory, he was out foraging in the front yard and came up the steps, crawling up the steps, spitting out and frothing at the mouth bits of snail. He worked out early that he wasn't French. When we were on a camp one time, we left behind any sort of knife and we had a big watermelon. So what did you do?
Yeah, so Chris said, don't worry, Mum, I'll fix this. And we had a big screwdriver in the back of the car, and he got out the screwdriver, found a rock, and he sat there and he cut the watermelon into slices with the screwdriver, it was about the age of 10, I think. Do you remember that? Yep. So
problem solving.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And Briege, if you have children and they fall close to that tree, they will get the giggles at dinner table. Just send them outside. They'll calm down. And the last thing I would say from Chris's growing up is make sure your health insurance is up to date, because he has spent more time in hospital, more time in A&E, more time under the surgeon's knife than the other two put together. He was just... Sometimes I wonder whether it's this magnificent spirit that he's got and his body just can't keep up. That wasn't a joke.
Yeah. Look, everyone else who's spoken about Chris has alluded to his difficulty with making decisions. And as a parent, I will attest to that has been, for example, when Chris had finished Year 12 and it came to the day that preferences had to be in for unis, it had to be in by midnight that night. Chris had had, I don't know, months to make this decision. And at 11 o'clock, Mum, I don't know what I'm going to do. So we sat down and we talked through it, and at 5 minutes to midnight, he picked the send on the computer to put his preferences in, which took him to Canberra, which was good. But yes, definitely, we've seen that side of him a lot. However, with Briege, when as Dan mentioned, all of a sudden he was keen to introduce us to this girl. That had never happened before. There was always this, oh no, maybe next time, or, you know, we didn't even know there was a girl. So there was a keenness, oh, you're coming to Brisbane, you know, we'll meet Briege. So we've noticed a difference right from the beginning with the way Chris responded with Briege, that, you know, our little antennas went up and went, this one's got something different. And I'd really like to welcome you, Briege, to our family. It's lovely to have another Mrs. Sheehan. Really nice. And for those of you who, well, most of you don't know me, a few people in the room know me. Just me, my family, including everyone who's alive, my brothers, my nieces and nephews, and my uncles. My whole extended family is, and including married, you know, partners of my family. We number 17 until today, and Briege has made us 18, which is really good. John comes from a much larger family than I do, but nowhere near the size of the McKenna family. And she's slotted in amazingly well. And Dan, you might be a little bit embarrassed at this one, but when we were all going to Brisbane recently, and Dan was there and Gail with the two children, Dan was saying, we're going to meet trial Auntie Briege. And we just said, be careful, because she's going to pick that one up if you're not careful. But as soon as we saw Briege with the kids, we knew that the trial was going to be dropped and she was going to be Auntie Briege. So there was no surprise there. And amazing to watch you with how you interacted with the family, and were just at home instantly. And came to one of the family weddings, one of John's cousins in Brisbane, and got on with all the extended family of John's side. And yeah, everybody in our family just loves you to bits. There you go.
So we were both wondering, who is this young woman? And there's no better way to find out about a person than to meet their family, I thought, still think. So we were invited around to Mary and Tim's place for dinner one night, and being older, it was okay. It was okay for me just to sit in the background and watch and talk a little bit and just observe. And what I observed was a kitchen scene in which, and it's not a huge kitchen, it's not a small kitchen, but there probably would have been 7 people in that kitchen with flashing knives, opening oven doors, boiling water, saucepans coming off, spuds coming out, roasts being chopped, and everybody got along. Everybody came out of there with all hands, fingers intact, no scars, and it was a really lovely meal. And Chris was in the middle of it. And I thought, you're in, boy. You are slotting in here really well. This is a really tight family. And we had a really long, lovely conversation with Patricia that night as well. And I thought, Patricia, this heart of the family, this core of the family, you must be so proud of your children. The Hebrews have a... Good on you, James. The Hebrews have this concept called shalom, just to be really serious for a minute, and we translate that as peace. The shalom word refers to this network, this community of people that allows peace to happen. It's a supportive community. It's like extended family, extended through society. And that's what, when you wish somebody shalom, you wish them that experience in life. And you have grown up with shalom, both of you, I hope. And I expect you to create shalom, because it's not something that just happens. And your life is blessed and will be blessed. Just to make sure that it's not all too heavy at the end, I was really pleased to hear Chris use a new term the first time after I met Briege, and that was stubborn off. They have stubborn offs. And it was good to see that there was this steely, strong resolve in this woman, because you'll need it, kiddo. You'll need it. It's yours.
We've noticed, seeing you both together, how well suited you are in all manner of things, in your sense of humour, your adventurousness. I mean, everyone else has commented all those things, and just, I won't go into it in detail, but just that we can see that there's a partnership and that you work as a team and that you're committed to each other. And that's what you need in a marriage, and it's wonderful to see. Part of that idea of partnership is supporting each other's hopes and dreams. And I know, Briege, that one of your dreams was to live in a foreign country and to work. And Chris, in supporting you in your dream, here we all are in Kuala Lumpur having a wedding. So that's already at work. You're supporting each other's hopes and dreams, and may it continue. I'm sure it will. And I'd just like to finish by saying that that when Chris was born and a baby, we were his parents, and as his parents, we were the first to hold him in love and to nurture him and to support him and do all those things that parents do with small children. And Briege, now it's your turn to hold Chris in love, as he will hold you in love, and to support each other and go forward. And we relinquish that you are now each other's main support person. And that's, having been with partner, John and I will soon have our 38th wedding anniversary, and that's an honour with someone to be able to be that person. And it's delightful that you are each other's person. Thank you.
Do you want to say anything?
Just wanted to start by saying, I'm so nervous. Thank you everyone for coming. It's been a huge effort for everybody, coming from Australia, coming back from overseas holidays early to come, and we really appreciate it. We love having you here in Malaysia, and it's nice to see you all and for you to see what our life is like here and to share this special day with us.
Well said. I would like to start not by thanking anybody. I'd just like to clear up a few things. Mum and Dad, my body is better than ever. Django, well played, and I promise I have never been arrested. Don't check too far into that one. Dan, thanks for the speech. It really meant a lot. It's nice to hear how you see it from over your side, because sometimes I'm not aware of what's going on in that brilliant mind of yours, but it's good to see your perspective. Wilpie and Howie, false alarm on the G-rated brief. Apparently shitting in the woods is fine to talk about at a wedding. Apparently exes are also fine to talk about at a wedding, but all I want to say is to Fat Calves Cosgrove, cop it sweet, mate. Cop it sweet. Indecisive, okay, that is fair. This suit that I'm wearing, I decided on at about 9 a.m. this morning, with the help of Mary and B, so thank you guys. The other one's good too, I'll whip it out at a suitable occasion. Just to hark back to something that Mum and Dad talked about supporting in terms of passions, and Briege wanted to move overseas, and I remember early on we had a chat about me buying a house in Brisbane, Northside Brisbane, 40 minutes away. You came and saw the perfect house for me that I'd been looking for 3 months, more indecision. But on the way up the coast to meet B, I knew that it was never going to be the house that I would buy, because why would I buy 40 minutes away from you? So in terms of that, I've lost my thread. Oh, supporting passions, yes. We chatted then about going overseas, and you asked me on the beach, would you go overseas? I was like, yep, in a heartbeat. And Briege is also supporting a passion of mine. You've heard it before, my downward dog is good. I enjoy my yoga. Briege came against her will to a Bali yoga retreat recently. It needs to be premium conditions for Briege to do yoga. Not too hot, not too cold, not too many mosquitoes, but still a few mosquitoes so you can feel like you're dodging them. 1 coffee in the belly, not 2, some breakfast, and preferably some calm music. If that's all happening, then Briege is good. So I didn't think Briege would last a minute on this 4-day yoga retreat that we went to. This one, Hidden Talents, headstand first time, unassisted, stayed on her head for about 3 minutes. Yeah, round of applause. The seasoned yoga veterans at the Bali yoga retreat were wild. They all pretended to be impressed, but they hated you. Never done yoga, doing a headstand, what the heck. And I'll come back to that last one in a sec. Sorry, I've saved these speeches everywhere.
It's the scrawlings of a madman everywhere.
I couldn't decide where to put them. And not that one. Wow, what a party! Howie, thanks, I stole that from your wedding. Briege has already thanked everyone, thank you so much. Everyone has got on a plane to be here, even the people who live here flew back early from holidays, so we really appreciate you being part of our special day. Some special thank yous. Do you want to read any of these?
Peter for the music. Even though you didn't sing, you put a lot of effort into choosing the music for the church, so thank you.
Ashley for the apples and banana snacks.
Sing later, Peter.
Did anyone get an apple or a banana today? Thank Ashley. Where's Ashley? Well done, excellent. Ben and Val.
Ben and Val for the wishing well and the dessert table that they organised throughout the summer. They did lots of hard research testing pastries, and I think they're all gone. Yeah. Good job.
Yep, well done. They must have been delicious. Thanks to our bridal parties for getting us through the day. Anyone who saw us yesterday, you might have noticed we were a little stressed. Today was all good thanks to the support of our bridal parties. Thank you to Stan for your MC work. Legend. Callie for taking on the music and some ad hoc photos at very last minute request. Oh, that one's... Oh, the bridesmaids. Scrub up all right, I agree. Yep, well done. On a more serious note, I just want to thank the McKennas for welcoming me into your family. Kelly looks like she's waving at me to welcome me even more, I reckon. Yeah, I'm onto you, Kelly. Don't you worry. It's a big family, so I guess one more is not too much to accommodate, but it's kind of weird. This was the other rebuttal I had to Johnny. Johnny said that I had a really warm greeting. I remember when I met Johnny, we were having dinner and I got up to shake his hand and he didn't shake my hand. Yeah. He claimed he had a cold. He kept his hands in his pockets, like, I'm a bit sick, and going upstairs, which is fair because I would have said the same thing if a 32-year-old came around to see my 24-year-old sister and was having a date on the balcony, so fair play. We'll put that to the test later, it's fine. Patricia, thank you for agreeing when I called up and asked to propose. To be fair, if you said no, I would have done it anyway. It just would have made it a longer, much harder road, and I'm wise enough to pick my battles. And love knows no bounds, right? So we would have been here regardless, but maybe I would have had a few more scars and maybe my body would actually not be in as tip-top condition as I think. Final in the thank yous. Do you want to do this one?
Just want to say thanks to our friends Tin and Dur for setting us up in the first place.
Tin and Dur. Let's raise our glasses to Tin and Dur. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I think I've got nothing at the moment.
All right, bear with me. That was my second of 3 speeches.
While he's doing that, I want to say thank you for the Sheehan's for so warmly welcoming me into the family. I am so glad to be Briege Sheehan now.
You can't read this one. To the artist formerly known as Briege McKenna, Mrs. Sheehan, what can I say? And this is more for Briege. You guys can listen, but I'll just talk to you. I love you so much, and you know that, and everyone here knows that, and I didn't want to write anything down because then it's a bit less authentic, but I also knew I would need to write it down, else I would forget what I wanted to say. I remember when you said that we should elope. And I said, how would your mum deal with that? And you were like, yeah, we'll cross that bridge later. I'm really glad we didn't, because I wanted to get up and say how I feel about you in front of everyone. So it would be rude not to, right? Our relationship started slow. We had 3 dates in 3 weeks, and then 2 months later, we did practically live together. Patricia, we did. I'm sorry, but we can chat about that later. We're married now, it's fine, it's fine. And do you remember that first day that we went camping in Flat Rock? Briege said she hadn't been camping for a long time since she was a kid, and for those of you who know me, I do enjoy going camping, getting out in the wilderness. And it started to rain when we turned up, but I really like this girl. But I also really like my money, so I was torn. But Briege won the day, and I went and bought a brand new $200 gazebo to put above the tent and the outside so Briege would enjoy her experience a little bit better. And Briege was having a great time cooking, and she was like, oh, wash up, you relax, and that was fantastic. And do you remember when I laid on the grass? Nope, I remember when I laid on the grass. That's when I was already planning this speech. Sweaty eyeballs. Where did that come from? So you'd think that was like almost 1.5 years ago. You would expect it to be a bit better, but that's fine. Thank you for indulging me. You should have a bit more pizzazz, right? I just want to say, I love you. I love your quads, your street smarts, your regular smarts. You know the right amount of thinking to put into something. I'll put in 1,000,000 hours, which is usually way too much. You put in about 5% of that, and that's the right amount, and you keep me grounded in that. I love how you are with kids, especially these kids who are having a ball, literally. I love the food that you cook, and you always try something new. You're so adventurous. I love waking up with you every morning. I love your sense of adventure, and if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have come to Malaysia. So if anyone's upset at coming, then blame Briege. If anyone's happy, then thank Briege later, that's fine. I love how you support me, including the Yoga Bali retreat and everything. It's just, I feel the support. I love your hidden talents. We've talked about the yoga headstand, and I love how you make me feel, and I love who I am around you. And people have alluded to that tonight, but I'm a better version around you, and it's just great to find that person for me. So thank you. You're such a beautiful woman, and no offense to anyone who's already been married, I won't get you to raise your hand, but you're the most beautiful bride I've ever seen. Full stop. And I can't wait to begin this rest of our adventures. We've had 2 years together. We have lived together for a small fraction of that, which goes against what I said earlier, Patricia. It's fine. And I've told you all this, but I just can't wait to keep adding to this list every day for the rest of our lives. Love you, Boo. You want to say anything? You don't have to at all.
I didn't write anything for Chris, but that was really nice, and I love him very much also. But let's get this party started.